Then it's a Scandinavian 3, 4 and 5, Martin Larsson. Then the two Finns, the young and the old, Oscar Palermo and Koivu Niemi. And Barrett, who opened this thing up with a win for Team Europe, opens up here with a strike.
Unusually, Europe lead in their breaker game against Team USA. Big left-hander, and with a high backswing, man known as Big Boy.
The lefty who got a winner with a 180 score, and he's not in the pocket.
Yeah, that, he wasn't very happy with that one, Nick, because the ball seemed to jump at the last minute. It really took off, went high through the head pin, has left the 2-4-7-8.
Safely does.
Yeah, good looking spare. And a few high fives from the rest of the team there. Up steps Paul Moore.
In the county level, never mind at international level like this. But Barrett's opened up with a strike. Moore, the lefty, we thought he'd followed suit, but leaves the 9 standing on the back line. Missed.
Don't I remember you saying that?
You
when
do.
Tim Mack was playing.
You do, but Paul Moore is going to make sure.
Yeah, good looking spare. Tim put on the back line. Yeah, upsets Pete Weber. The man that's suffered last year and struggled in his first match as well against Don Barrett. Shot 215. I had to work really hard for that, and unfortunately was beaten.
Yeah, you don't want to harp on about this, Cass, but Pete had a tough time with this last year, and we certainly didn't see him at his best in that defeat against Don Barrett.
Yeah, we'd like to see this one buried right in the pocket and carry all 10.
That'll do it.
Not dissimilar to that. That's a great looking shot, and that will give Pete a lot of confidence, which is what he needs right now. High fives all round. Makes it look so easy.
He really does.
One of the best players of all time on the American tour. Absolutely rips the rack. Good looking shot, bit of body language, and he'll accept that.
Ooh, just about got away with that for Larsson. Didn't look like it was going to hang in the pocket there, did it?
Yeah, good looking shot. Way to the left of the lane is where he's standing. Way to the right is where the ball goes. It's just a fraction high, but good enough. Sets up that chain reaction. Strikes are what the European side need in this Baker match. Tim Mack, who suffered earlier on as well. And he's in the pocket. What a great looking shot. That will do his confidence a great deal of good as well. Gives the players a chance just to regroup. They've only got to play 2 frames in this game. And if they can strike both times, certainly 24 and lost. Looking for the double for Team Europe. Ooh, and rings the 10 pin in the corner.
Yeah, didn't need that. Spares will seal Team Europe's doom in this Baker. And how many times have we said that down the years?
Yeah, absolutely. Not quite in the pocket. 6 pin goes right round the 10 pin, and Oscar can't believe that. He thought that was just good enough.
Well, there wasn't much wrong.
If the angle's just a fraction out. Hard and fast for the spare, and ooh, that nearly dropped in the channel just before
Linda, a very accomplished bowler in her own right, and the 2 twins, the 4-year-old now, Ryan and Troy. First thing those kids were given was a dummy and a nappy and a bowling ball. I think it really is very much a family affair, and somewhere in Texas they'll be cheering Dad on with that one because he's come up with a strike.
Yeah,
it's still fairly even, Stephen, but the 3-bagger for Team USA is the difference. The European strike spare. That's why they're trailing. But on the law of averages, this will be a strike, and indeed it is.
Make another strike, which would have been 13 in a row, wouldn't it?
I think
if it counted.
I think you might be right. Let's see. Yeah. Somebody needs to keep a check on this over the course of this weekend. How many strikes in a row for Tommy Jones? That's 13, and it certainly wasn't unlucky.
So we just repeat what's happened. Done with his second frame.
Oh, they've had to do a lot of work here.
And his second strike.
Yeah. Well, the messenger did him a favour there. Not the greatest strike you'll ever see from Don Barrett, but you know what? They all count in the stats book.
Yeah, it was kind of a sort of a slow motion with the messenger, wasn't it? Light head pin hit. Here comes the head pin.
There it goes.
Bump, bump, bump.
Tap.
Spared his first attempt, first frame at the Baker. Looking for a strike to make 5 in a row for the Americans, and absolutely rips the rack. Oh dear, oh dear. Lots of body language here, interaction with the crowd.
The crowd
Great
somewhere,
looking shot.
and his brother. They don't shout a lot. They just make sure they're there to support their son. Ooh, he needs a bit of support. That was a sketchy looking 9, wasn't it?
Yeah, not quite good enough, I'm afraid. There's a 3-pin standing. There's family, mum, dad and brother.
There he is, bowling spares, but you just get the feeling Paul is not quite dialed into this competition just yet.
Needs the confidence, needs the strikes.
You know, looking further down the competition, if this guy catches fire, watch out. And he's building up some smoke here in this Baker, isn't he?
And get that body language. He absolutely ran that one off the approach and salutes the crowd.
Yeah.
And you know what, Nick, don't you? Team Europe are losing the Baker game. How strange.
Yeah, the Europeans get a strike. Larson starting to settle down. Last, of course, had the misfortune of having to deal with a lane that was breaking down in front of his eyes. Open frame, you can wipe it out effectively. But there doesn't seem to be much danger of that happening.
Great looking shot, great looking body language. Down on one knee was Tim Mack when that ball hit the pocket, and he knew it was going to be 10. Great looking shot.
Who did not manage
tight.
a strike with his first ball. Finds one here, but is it too late?
Well, he ran the 10-pin on his first shot. He's carried all 10 on that second shot. Makes it a double for the Team European side. It's the situation. It's still a huge gap to try and pull back.
Yeah, it's too late, isn't it? Unless there's a disaster here for Barnes or indeed for Jones later on, and don't bet on that happening.
No, 2 of the top players in the world. Hardly likely to do something disastrous.
And that pretty much does it. Tommy Jones can pretty much bowl them with his eyes closed, and the Americans will have this point in the bank.
And it would have been 200-300 games in a row, wouldn't it?
How bizarre. How bizarre. All a bit academic here. And just in case anybody thought there was the slightest chance of the Europeans nicking this one at the death, that just went.
Back again to the super, almost dream team of American superstars.
Oh, they've lost 3 in a row, and the lowest of the scores in those 3 defeats is Barnes is 244. Gives you an indication of just how good the Europeans are going to have to be to get any points out of this. So Koivu Niemi. It's not been a bad Baker, but you can't compete with 9 strikes in a row. That's just ridiculous. Or 8 strikes at the moment, isn't it? You kind of assume it's going to be 9 with Tommy coming up. Strike number 14 in a row for Tommy Jones. You know, if he could just bottle what he's had here on this Friday night in Barnsley, Tommy Jones would be a very, very wealthy man.
Well,
what a night it's been for Tommy Jones. 14 in a row. Make it 15. He just doesn't miss. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody quite bowl at this level, Cass, because usually even in a 300 game there's a lucky one, there's a wobbly one, but boy,
it's been a fantastic Baker game, and Tommy Jones for a long time, you believe me.
16 strikes in a row. That's the personal tally for Tommy Jones. The team tally for the Americans in that Baker was 290. The lead at the first turnaround is 4-2 from 2-1 down. That's a tremendous second session. The Americans running the table